Hi, I'm Daniel Lucas, and welcome to Book 101 Review. Book 101 is all about the books that are read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. He is best-selling author, no other than Miss Sherianna Boyle. Welcome to Book 101, Miss Sherianna, and can you please introduce more about yourself?
Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me on the show. I'm Sherianna Boyle. I'm the author of 11 books. The most recent is Just Ask Spirit. This one here just came out yesterday.
Yesterday.
Yay! So, having a lot
Con-
of fun.
yes, Miss Sherianna Boyle. Thank you so much for sharing your talents
The
to the
applause. I
world.
love the applause. Thank
Your
you.
books to the world. Thank you for being a best-selling author. So, what is the central message of Just Ask Spirit?
Yeah. So in the book, I talk. Well, let me just do a little bit of backstory. That many of my books, what I've been known for is emotional processing. So I wrote a book series called Emotional Detox. It's 3 parts. That book series, 3 books, and so I've been teaching and writing about how to teach people how to process their emotions for well over a decade now. And I started to see something very interesting. I started to see that once people start to learn to process their emotions and they get a real handle of that, something else happens, and that is their intuition. They start to ask new questions about learning to trust themselves, learning they want to become interested in their spiritual guides. So what's happening is they're becoming more open, because that's what happens when you process your emotions. You don't just become open as I'm scared or nervous or I feel vulnerable kind of open. You actually start to feel safe. And I think when people feel safe, that's when they want to use their voice. So they want to open up. They want to see, well, what else is possible for me? What else is in store for me? What else am I capable of? So I started to take my clients to that place and teach them, okay, great. Now we have your emotions down. Now I'm going to teach you how to ask spirit yourself. And so what I've done in this book is I blended it together. So it's the gateway is your emotions. So I teach people how to process their emotions and the way that leads them into a state of being, a state of presence, a state of consciousness, which is absolutely ideal for asking and getting to know your spirit guides, receiving messages and guidance. And I take them through a 7-step process in that book. I call it the 7-step pathway. And so that's what that book's about.
Well, interesting indeed, Miss Ariana. So, what inspired you to write this book?
Well, I think it's always been in me. And I think that happens with a lot of people who maybe they're thinking about writing a book or creating something, or maybe they've written books. It starts inside of you, and that seeds are planted. And I'd always knew that I was connected to spirit. I knew that I was channeling most of the time when I work with clients. And I was, again, teaching these skills. And I had a couple of people that wanted to get trained under me because I'm an emotional detox coach. And I put them through the training, and they started asking questions in the training. And they were like, okay, we understand how to process your emotions, but how do you do what you do? And I was like, what do you mean? They're like, I want to learn what you do. And so basically what they were asking was, how do you channel? And so I realized that they really wanted to be able to get the downloads, the insights for their clients, because it's very helpful, because you get right to the source of things. You get right into the meat and potatoes. You don't have to dance around it. You don't have to waste a lot of time. When you can connect to spirit and you get that support, it's just cuts through the chase of everything. And it's wonderful tools for if you're a coach or a therapist, or even I have many clients who are managers or in business. When I teach them this, they're like, wow, it just makes life so much easier if you can just get that divine guidance yourself. You don't have to worry as much. You don't have to waste a lot of time and energy and anxiety over things that are irrelevant and really not pertinent to what's going on. So I find that my clients gave me a push. My mom also gave me a push. She said, I know you've written a lot of books and I'm proud of you and everything, but when are you going to write the book? As moms do. Sometimes moms just like say it like it is. She's like, you're not writing about the stuff that you can do. And I'm like, what do you mean, Mom? She's like, the spiritual stuff, the way you connect to spirit. So I think between my clients and my mom, it was like, uncle, okay, I'll do it. And I think what it was is I felt like everybody can do this. And I know everybody can do it now that I teach it. But I just wasn't ready yet to kind of come out in that way. But now I am.
So, Miss Sherianna, how does just a spirit suggest we can communicate with the spirit or higher self?
Mm. Well, I believe the 777 step pathway that I write. It's really 7 steps, and then what I do is I write out the pathways so that people can literally pick up the book and they can go through a practice themselves. And the practice is an acronym, and the acronym is CLEANSE. Starts with a CLEANSE. And that acronym stands for really learning to process your emotions, release reactivity so that you can get into your body, get into a space where you feel connected to, where you feel safe, where you feel supported, and then you ask, and then again I teach you how to receive the guidance that follows. But with an acronym, they're going to start with the C, and as you just said, the C is about learning to connect to your higher self. And there's many ways that you can connect to your higher self, and I give people the different ways to do that. But when you connect to your higher self, you're basically connecting to the part of you that has unlimited, infinite potential. You also are connecting to the part of you that is very protected. When you're in your higher self, when you're functioning from that state and you're truly connected, you feel safe, you feel calm, you feel open, like I mentioned before, open and you feel curious, and you're more focused. So I think that's there's so many benefits to learning how to connect to your higher self, but one of them is you learn to cut that noise out, that mental chatter. You know how sometimes you have a conversation, you're like having a conversation with yourself as if you're talking to someone else. And those are indications that you're not connected to your higher self. So I always say to people, that's the first step. That's the C in the cleanse. Connect to higher self. Get to know what it feels like to be in your higher self. And once you do that, then you start to focus on the other steps. But I initially have you go through all the steps. But the one I really want you to get in the beginning is connecting to higher self.
Certainly connect to the higher self. I want
Yeah.
to do that too. So,
Yeah.
how does the book explain the connection between suppressed emotions and personal energy?
Mm. So, what I say in the book is, and what I realized in the process of writing the book and working with clients, is that when you suppress your emotions, you suppress spirit. When you suppress spirit, you suppress your emotions. It goes hand in hand. So it's a two-way street. And for me, I was always connecting to spirit, even as a kid. And then when I got to be in I don't know, I think I was around 18 and I started thinking more like an adult. Like, what am I going to do with my life? Where am I going to go to school? What kind of degree do I want? You start getting like these adult like thoughts. and you start going through the motions. And then you get a little insecure, nervous. Am I making the right decisions? And so I found during that period of my life, I started getting fearful, and I started getting less playful. I started taking things personally, or being really driven, and comparing myself to my friends. Like, what are they doing? What are they doing? What am I doing? Are they ahead of me? Are they behind me? Like that kind of thing. And as that started to occur, my relationship, all that beautiful guidance that I was getting when I was a kid, that I would receive so effortlessly, and I would let myself be guided, all of a sudden started to slip away. And what ended up happening is I started blocking what I was feeling. I found myself more concerned about managing my emotions, or pushing them away, or minimizing my emotions, than actually feeling them. And so for a while, I became disconnected. I became disconnected from my higher self. I started seeing myself in limits. It's either black or white, yes or no, good or bad. I started living in, like so many of us do, this world where you're in a box, and it just seems like there's limited choices and opportunities. And as that occurred, I got depressed and I got anxious. And now it's like, oh, now I'm anxious. Now I got to deal with the anxiety. Oh, I'm depressed. Now I got to go research depression. Oh, now I'm, having a hurt. Now my health is being affected. Oh, now I got to figure out how to make my health better. It's like all of a sudden you just go on this trajectory of, oh man. And of course I'm learning and growing as I'm on that road, but eventually I would circle back to spirit. It would be through the work of Emotional Detox, when I started writing those series, where I started slowing down and learning how to process my emotions. That's when I reconnected to spirit. And then that led in to the development of Just Us Spirit, where I realized you can't really teach this without teaching people how to process their emotions. In my belief, I think it's such an important part. And I'm a podcast host like yourself. I have the Just Ask Spirit podcast, and I've interviewed over 150 people, and nobody was really talking about that. They were talking about being calm, but nobody was really honing in on that. So I said, you know what? I'm going to hone in on it, because it needs to be discussed.
Certainly. So, how can you define the spirit itself?
Yeah, I mean, there is no one definition for that. It's a feeling, it's an experience. It's when I feel completely connected. And when I feel connected, I feel a state of oneness. I feel love. I feel safe. I feel warmth. I feel unconditional love. I feel like I want to help other people and serve. And for me, it's a state of connection. So it's not just about connecting to your spirit guide. I mean, yes, of course, that is an important part, or whatever it is that you believe. I'm not trying to get anyone in this book to believe anything specific. It's a self-discovery of getting to know what feels right for you, and letting your emotions guide you on that path. And then once you get there, see what happens, see what comes in, see how it makes you feel. So for me, spirit is consciousness. It's a state. And the soul, and my belief, is light, that we're all light. And so when we connect to spirit, we are connecting to our soul's light. And we all have light, each and every one of us. We may have forgotten it. It gets dim, or it appears to get dim. But the more you connect, the brighter it gets, the more easy it is to tune in with it.
So, Miss Sherianna, what would be your advice for those people out there want to communicate or want to connect to their spirit?
Well, absolutely. The first thing is to connect to light, connect to higher self, and also connect to light. So make that very clear that you're choosing to connect to light. And what is light? Well, light is energy, it's frequency, it's it's a choice to connect to the higher realms, higher vibration. So many of your spirit guides, they live in these higher vibrational realms. They don't live in the lower vibrational realms where we go in and out, where we're happy, we're sad, we're this, we're that, we're connected, we're disconnected, we're sort of like pulled all back and forth. But when you connect to spirit guides, they're very stable. There's a stability, there's an unconditional, there's an unwavering. There are no peaks and valleys. Everything just is. And there's a oneness. And if you think about oneness, how powerful that is. When everything is one, when there's no fragmentation. So you're tapping in to power, and you're part of that power. You're a very important part of that power. So I think you want to connect to light. You want to make time for it. I mean, of course, you could talk off the cuff anytime. Your spirit guides love to hear from you. But it's nice if you have a practice. And in part 3 of the book, I have a practice. It's actually part 3 is where they're going to do a little some journaling. You're going to ask questions. You're going to journal. I'll teach you how to do that. I'll also teach you other ways that you can receive messages besides journaling. But that whole part 3 section, I've tested it. I've run spirit retreats on it. I have clients that use it, and people just love it. They say it just really makes this sort of abstract more concrete for them.
Amazing experience. So, what will be your short term and long term goals in writing?
In writing?
Yes.
Well, I've got something I'm working up now. I'm working on some decks, the card decks. I have some workbooks I'm working on. I have another idea for Just Us Spirit. I like Emotional Detox. That ended up being 3 books. I think Just Us Spirit probably will be more than just 1 book. I'm not sure yet, but so I've got a few things in the works.
Good luck to your goal, Miss Sherianna, and looking forward for more empowering books like this. Just a spirit. Do you think there's a follow up for this book?
I do.
You do.
I do.
Okay.
Yeah, because I'm teaching it, and I'm teaching things because I'm channeling. I mean, that's what this book does. It teaches you how to connect and receive. I just said a couple things today. I have a Just Ask Spirit community where people come in, and I teach basically what's in the book, but I also teach off, I'm teaching other things. And I said to the people today, I said, well, this isn't, just so you know, it's not in the book, because I just got it like this moment. They were like, I love it. I love it. You need to write that in a book. And I was
Yes.
like, I know, I wish I had it. I would have, but that happens when you channel, you get
Yes.
information, and sometimes you really get something really special that you're like, okay, that's a sign there will be another book.
There will be another book. People also looking forward for that. So, how can someone recognize when they are on the right path in life?
Well, that's a really good question, Daniel. I think there is no right path. It's a path, because try not to get in your head about it. If it's uncomfortable, it doesn't mean it's not right. Sometimes it's very right. Sometimes it's the very thing you've been asking for. I see that happen all the time with clients. They ask their guides, please help me like have a healthier relationship or be healthy. And then all of a sudden this stuff all starts happening in their life. And they're like, wait a minute, this is awful. That I don't like this. I'm upset. I'm anxious. I'm like, wait a minute. I think you asked for this. They never said it was going to be easy. Right. And so the right, you'll just know. I think sometimes there's a spark. And what you have to do is have discernment. You have to really recognize the difference. And I've done it myself between quitting as a form of like self-sabotage, because I find I work with a lot of people that get so close, and then the excuses come in, or
Mm.
their beliefs come in, or they're, they I don't know, whatever it is that, and I think, oh boy, here we go. There's some self-sabotage happening here. It happens. So they're like, oh, they get fearful. They get really caught up in the material. Remember, spirit is not the material world. We're working with energy. And so I think, when you just hang in there and you keep going, and even if you don't have evidence yet, and you're like, but it's like starting a podcast or writing a book or doing some drawing. You're like, yeah, well, nobody's looking at my work, but I don't know, something inside me just tells me to keep going. That's spirit.
Yes. Just do it, as you said.
Yeah, just don't give up. Yeah.
Yes. Try and try until you succeed. So, Miss Ariana, before we wrap up our discussion, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, Food 101, and it's fifth season, people. Fifth season already with my co-host, Chef Alessandro, one of a specialty chef in one of the five-star hotel in downtown Toronto. Please do listen to our latest episode. We are reading, yes, we're reading all our letter senders all over the world. So, Miss Ariana, how does connecting with the spirit guide someone toward a more fulfilling life?
How does it give us a more fulfilling life? Is that what you said?
Yes.
Um, I think it gives us meaning. I think the meaning comes from within you, though, instead of from me or from you or someone else telling you what to think, what to believe, how, what choices to make. I mean, we all need feedback. Let's be clear here. We all love some feedback, some
Feedback.
reassurance, and that could be signs from spirit too. Someone giving you a little pat on the back, things like that. It's like, okay, you are on the right track. But in terms of fulfilling, I think it's when it comes from within. There is a sense of fulfillment you get when you listen to that inner voice, when you follow that inner wisdom, when you trust what it is that you were trusting. And try not to look for signs of failure or any kind of evidence that you're on the wrong track. And I know that can be hard for some people. They want to prevent failure. And that's where your emotions play a huge role, and that's why I include it in my Just Ask Spirit process, because things come up, normal, healthy, and that's why I think my motto is feel first and then ask. Feel first and then ask, and then that feeling, that state of feeling, you're going to see how powerful that can be.
People feel first. Okay, that's the number one criteria. And ask.
Feel first, yes.
Yes. So, just a spirit, thank you, Miss Sherianna Boyle, for sharing your books to the world.
Thank you. Yay.
Yes,
Yay.
available where books are sold. So, can you please invite our listeners to support all your books?
Sure, you can get Just Ask Spirit anywhere books are sold. And you can also go to my website, sheriannaboyle.com. I do have a free gift there. I think Daniel put it up there. It's at justaskspiritbook.com.
Yes.
The book is out. It still says pre-order on my website. I just haven't even caught up with my own life yet.
busy.
I will get to that. So when you grab that gift, just know it's already out. So grab a gift, join the community if you want to practice connecting to spirit.
Yes, I'm interested, Miss Ariana, to connected with all the spirits of the universe. So, Miss Ariana, thank you so much for sharing your talents to the world, and we are looking forward for more empowering books like this. Okay, so Miss Ariana, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
More to come, people. See you soon.